It was a normal Tuesday night. After work I walked to our local pub for food and drinks with some work friends. We meet up every Tuesday night and go to the same place. This night was different. It was very cloudy and there was a chance of rain. I live close to work and the pub, so I usually walk. After getting to the pub I sat with my friends, and since I was last to arrive I had to buy the first round of drinks. We usually don't take shots since we all still have work the rest of the week. As soon as I take my first sip I notice something out of the ordinary, or rather someone. I notice a beautiful woman sitting at the other end of the bar. Usually we were the only people in the pub drinking. So this was odd. I take a good look at her and I'm instantly smitten. She has the most beautiful strawberry red hair, piercing brown eyes, snow-pale skin, and an emerald green floral sundress. My friends started to give me shit for staring, and to my surprise, she was staring and smiling back at me. I wouldn't say I'm an ugly man, but I'm also no model. I'm of average height and build. Nothing special. My friends are trying to hype me up to go talk to her. After a couple more drinks of my beer I walk over to her and introduce myself. "Hi, my name is Paul. It's nice to meet you." "Hello, I'm Caroline." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Paul." Her voice was as sweet as frosting. It was soft and just the right amount of quiet. We get to talking and she convinces me to take shots with her. She orders 6 shots of Jack Daniels for the two of us. By the time the bartender was done pouring I noticed my friends were gone. That's okay, we never stay too late anyway. We take the shots and I start to feel tipsy. It's safe to say, I have no tolerance. We order one more round of shots and I'm done for the night. I'm as drunk as I allow myself to be. We talk for a few more minutes and she invites me to her place. I'm reluctant since I have work in the morning and I'm not one to have one-night stands. But man, this woman has a way with words. Caroline says she doesn't live far from here. She actually lives in the same apartments as I do. I was surprised since I've never seen her before. But at this point I'm too drunk to care. I followed her to her apartment and thankfully it's not raining yet. We stumble inside her apartment and we start making out. We kissed for a good couple minutes and all I could think was, man, work is gonna suck tomorrow. She pulls away and says in her sweet voice, "I'm going to make us a couple drinks. You stay here, handsome." I do as she says and I start looking around her apartment when I notice, it's oddly empty. In the living room there's just the couch I'm sitting on and a very long glass coffee table. It looks like it's not originally meant to be a coffee table, but I think nothing of it. She comes back with the drinks and wants to have a chugging contest. This is when I get a sinking feeling in my stomach, then I hear a noise. It sounded like a metal pipe hitting the floor. I tried to ask what it was, but she put the red Solo cup to my lips and I started to drink. Something's not right. The drink tasted bitter and the texture was kind of grainy. I finished the drink and I noticed Caroline isn't on the couch anymore. I got up to find her and I overheard her talking to someone in her bedroom. I peek in and there's 2 very large men dressed like they are about to perform surgery. I look next to them and there's surgical tools on the bed. I try to run, but right at that moment I pass out. I wake up freezing cold with the afternoon sun blaring in my face. I feel a sharp pain in my back and my left eye. I try to get up but I'm too weak. I notice I'm in a bathtub full of ice. I say to myself, fuck, this bitch stole my organs. When I fully come to, I use all my strength to get out of the bathtub and crawl to the front door. I'm screaming in agony and I see a trail of blood following me. I manage to stand up and open the door and yell for help before passing out again. When I wake up I'm in the hospital. I hear machines beeping and people talking around me. I ask what happened. The nurse who was talking with the police says that one of my kidneys was dissected and even my left eye. I start to cry in disbelief. You're going to have to be on dialysis until you get a donor since your healthy kidney was badly damaged. The police approach me and I tell them the whole story. They looked shocked, then they ran out of the room. The nurse looked at me and was confused. Then the cops come back with someone. "Is this Caroline, sir?" One of the cops asked. "Holy shit, yes that is." I yell as loud as I can in my condition. "How did you find her?" "She works here as a custodian," says the nurse. Caroline looks angry and scared. She tries to make a run for it and the cops tackle her. As she's being cuffed, she yells in a loud, sharp voice, "You should have died in that apartment." After the cops cuff her, they take her away. I'm in the hospital for a couple weeks. Thankfully, after my family heard about what had happened, they all got tested to see if they were a match for a transplant. I have both kidneys again and I made a full recovery. My work threw a welcome back party for me when I came back. My friends were all very apologetic for leaving me with that psychopath. I have no hard feelings towards them. But the lesson I learned was to never follow a woman home for a one-night stand. Stay safe out there. I've been kept up in my room with my cat Milo. We've both been snuggling and watching horror Netflix movies. I knew I was missing something though. The popcorn. I already put it in the microwave. I just must have forgotten about it. I got out of bed telling Milo to stay and went downstairs. As I got in the kitchen to get my popcorn, I heard a loud thud. I can't tell if it was upstairs or downstairs, but either way, the noise was close. I got my popcorn and turned off the kitchen light, quickly running upstairs. I'm afraid of the dark. It reminds me that there's a possibility I'm not alone. I went back to my room, not daring to check where the sound was. Plus, I couldn't tell where it was coming from. We started the movie and I was petting Milo the whole time. Milo loved to be a pet. My bedroom is upstairs along with the bathroom and a guest room. I guess you could say I have a pretty big house. But only 30 minutes into the movie I heard another loud thud. This scared the crap out of me. But this time I knew where it was coming from. It was coming from downstairs. "Shoo, it's okay Milo," I comforted Milo because it seemed like he was more scared than me. His tail was puffed up and his eyes were wide. As if he just saw something. I paused the movie and was rethinking my decision of checking what that was downstairs. But, I got out of my room and looked down the stairway. I couldn't see much until I looked closer. It looked like blood was dripping from somewhere because I could see blood. Blood isn't that hard to see. I had my phone on me in case I needed it for something. I turned the flashlight on and what I saw alarmed me. It was what looked like a 6 feet 0 inches man, with widened eyes of terror, and blood dripping down his mouth. He started screaming and I ran into my bedroom quickly, barricading any entrance in my room. My intuition hit me while barricading my doorway and window. That's why my cat was so afraid. That's why I heard loud thumping. He was upstairs, staring into my room, looking at Milo. That's what alarmed Milo into horror. I knew if I didn't do anything about it now, I would end up in a coffin. I tried calling the police, pacing back and forth into my room. "Come on, answer you sons of bitches," I said quietly. Milo kept hissing. I looked at Milo with my phone in my hand. "What Milo? What is it?" He was in a defensive pose, waiting to attack at any moment. I checked all the barricaded entries including the window. It was impossible. How could a 6-foot man be looking out of a 20-foot window? My eyes widened in terror. "What the hell do you want from me?" In horror he kept staring, smiling at me. He stood outside, looking at me. I tried calling the police again with an answer. 911, what's your emergency? Please help me, there is a man who broke in my house and he is terrifying the shit out of me. I exclaimed with stuttering words. He knew I was talking with the police, and as soon as I looked at him, his head was upside down, looking angry and sad. "Please come here quick, he has his head upside down." I started crying at this point. But then the police started sounding distorted, like their voices got deeper. "You're gonna die," the police exclaimed, which they kept on repeating. I screamed in horror and hung up the phone. An hour passed and the man was gone. I looked all over and he was nowhere to be found. Just in case, I kept all rooms barricaded, and got in my blankets with my cat Milo. Even though I was frightened, I fell asleep anyway. I was exhausted. But little did I know, the man was under my bed, smiling, waiting for the moment to attack. So let's start off by saying I'm a 16-year-old guy and this happened about a year ago. I have always felt connected to spirits and the world around them. Not only this, but my mother also has it a little. I feel and experience more than she does. Anyway, one day when we were out camping with friends and family, I could tell something was up with my mother. At first I thought she was just being moody. After a while she just kind of zoned out and stopped chiming in on the conversation. This made me a little concerned, as she always loves having a good chat. At one point she was standing next to the river by herself, and I decided I would go and talk to her. I asked her if she was okay and she replied with yes. I asked if she was sure, and that's when she looked at me and said to not tell my father if she told me. Let me also say my father doesn't really believe in spirits and stuff, so me and Mum usually don't bother talking about it to him. Anyway, I said okay, and next thing she says to me is that there's a spirit in their room. All of a sudden an image pops into my head of an old man who was about 60 to 70 years old, standing in a corner of my parents' room. I could see him well and all his features were very visible. I asked my mum if that's what she felt and she said yes. This creeped me out more than usual because I wasn't even near the spirit, but I still felt it. After our conversation, Mum was back to normal and happy again. However, I couldn't shake the feeling of it. We stayed camping for another couple of days and we were all good. However, when we got back I asked Mum if she could still feel it. She said no. I was a bit worried. The reason was because I could still feel it, but it wasn't in their room anymore. He was in my room. I didn't tell my mother though, because she wouldn't believe me, as she couldn't feel it anymore. Later that night when I went to bed, I could see him just standing at the end of my bed, just looking. He had no expressions, nothing, he was just staring. I ignored it, as I have seen many ghosts in my life. The next day when I woke up though, he was gone. I couldn't feel him anywhere in the house and I haven't seen or felt him since. If anyone knows why I could still feel him like 500 kilometers away from my house, let me know. Also let me know why he moved to me and blocked my mother from sensing him.